Tom lived in a small, quiet town, where the days often felt long and empty. The sun would rise each morning, casting a warm glow over the streets. But for Tom, the brightness didn't reach his heart. He was a widower, having lost his beloved wife, Anna, to illness 2 years ago. Since then, his home had turned into a place filled with memories that haunted him. He spent most of his time in the modest house they had shared, surrounded by reminders of their life together. The kitchen still held her favorite mug on the shelf, and her soft laughter seemed to echo in the corners of every room. Tom went through the motions of daily life, cooking simple meals for one, and working at a local hardware store, but he felt a deep loneliness that never seemed to fade. Though he had friends in town who cared about him, Tom often declined invitations to social gatherings. He preferred solitude over the awkwardness of explaining his loss. In the evenings, he would sit on the porch, staring at the stars while memories flooded his mind. Each twinkle reminded him of Anna's smile and how she always found joy in small things. As autumn approached, leaves turned from green to gold, but Tom's heart remained heavy with sorrow. He longed for companionship but was afraid to open up again. Little did he know that soon his life would take an unexpected turn. The universe had plans to send new faces into his world, faces that would challenge his loneliness and reshape his future in ways he could never imagine. Tom's house stood like a silent witness to his pain, echoing with the absence of laughter and love. Each room felt too big for one soul, filled with shadows of memories that loomed around him. The living room, once vibrant with Anna's creative touches, now sat in quiet disarray. A colorful quilt draped over the couch reminded him of cozy evenings spent cuddling while watching movies. Now, the TV flickered alone, offering no companionship. The kitchen, once a bustling, heartfelt, cold and uninviting. The aroma of Anna's famous dishes still clung to the air, but Tom could hardly muster the energy to cook for himself. He turned to frozen dinners and quick meals, feeling empty with each bite. The once cheerful sound of clattering pots and joyous conversations had turned into silence that weighed heavily on his heart. Every evening, after coming home from work, he would wander through the dimly lit halls. He'd pause to touch her framed photographs. A smile from a happier time stared back at him, igniting pain as well as warmth in his chest. He remembered how she used to dance around the kitchen, humming her favorite songs while he tried to keep up with her rhythm. Now, those joyful melodies faded into whispers within his mind. As Tom settled into bed each night, the familiar feeling of loss wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. The darkness felt all-consuming. The only sounds that accompanied him were the gentle creaks of an old house and his own soft sighs. In this emptiness, he often battled tears just beneath the surface, desperately wanting to escape the sadness while yearning for a brighter future he couldn't yet see on the horizon. One rainy night, as Tom sat on his porch listening to the raindrops tap against the roof, he heard a faint sound that made him pause. It was a soft whimpering, almost drowned out by the storm. Curiosity piqued, he stood up and stepped into the darkness, squinting through the sheets of rain. To his astonishment, he found 3 small figures huddled together at his doorstep. The triplets Emma, Jake, and Mia were soaked to the bone, their wide eyes filled with fear and hunger. They clutched each other tightly, looking small and vulnerable against the backdrop of the gloomy night. Behind them stood their mother, Sarah, who appeared equally drenched and desperate. Her face was etched with worry and exhaustion, but her eyes held a glimmer of hope as they met Tom's. "What happened?" Tom asked, concern rising in his chest. Sarah quickly explained how they had lost their home due to unforeseen circumstances and had nowhere else to go. The rain had come pouring down just as they were searching for shelter. Tom's heart swelled with compassion as he looked at the shivering triplets. He couldn't turn them away. "Come inside," he said gently, ushering them into the warmth of his home. The children hesitated for a moment before stepping over the threshold, their little feet leaving wet prints on the floor. As they entered, the smell of damp earth slowly faded away, replaced by a sense of safety. Tom quickly grabbed towels from the bathroom and handed them to Sarah and the kids. Little did he know that this unexpected encounter would change not only their lives but also his own in ways he could never have imagined. As Tom ushered Sarah and the triplets into his home, a wave of uncertainty washed over him. He watched them shiver, their little bodies trembling from the cold. But inside his heart battled a storm of apprehension. What had he gotten himself into? His life had been solitary and quiet, free of the chaos that children often bring. He glanced around his modest living room, suddenly aware of how ill-equipped he felt to care for these young ones. There were no toys strewn across the floor, no colorful drawings hanging on the walls, just remnants of a past life with Anna. He had never been a father. He didn't even know how to comfort a child who was upset or hungry. The thought of taking on such responsibility frightened him. "Are you guys okay?" he asked hesitantly, trying to sound reassuring. The triplets stood close to their mother, eyes wide with uncertainty, as they took in their new surroundings. Tom felt his palms sweat at the thought of having to provide for them not just food and shelter, but comfort and love, too, something he hadn't offered himself since losing Anna. Just then, Emma, the oldest, looked up at him with her big blue eyes. "Are we safe now?" she asked in a small voice. Her question struck at Tom's heart, forcing him to confront his fears head-on. He realized that behind every worry loomed a chance for healing for himself and for them all. Taking a deep breath, he decided he would do his best for these children. The storm outside raged on, but perhaps within these four walls lay an opportunity for hope to blossom amidst the shadows of sorrow. As the rain continued to patter against the windows, Sarah took a moment to catch her breath and gather her thoughts. Sitting on the worn-out couch, she could see Tom's concern as he prepared some warm towels. But behind her tired eyes lay a deeper story, one that had shaped her into the struggling single mother she was today. Just 6 months ago, life had seemed stable. Sarah worked at a local grocery store where she found joy in chatting with customers and watching her children grow. But everything changed when the store closed unexpectedly, leaving her jobless and without a clear path forward. With bills piling up and no income, her anxiety grew as she fought to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. When her landlord gave her an eviction notice, Sarah felt her world collapse. She did everything she could to find new work, applying for jobs, taking odd tasks in the neighborhood, but it was never enough. Each day became a battle against overwhelming despair as she struggled to stay strong for her triplets. Despite their dire situation, Sarah remained fiercely protective of Emma, Jake, and Mia. They were her reason for waking up each morning, even when hope seemed distant. The few resources she managed to scrape together were spent carefully, focusing on healthy meals and making sure they stayed warm during cold nights. But when the rain began to fall and the chill settled in, even that became difficult. So, with no other options left, Sarah dared to step into the unknown. That night at Tom's door marked not just a search for shelter, but also an unyielding resolve to keep her children safe at any cost. As Tom stood in the living room, the rain still pouring outside, he looked at Sarah and the triplets, and a wave of compassion washed over him. He could see the exhaustion in Sarah's eyes, the way she fought to hold back tears for the sake of her children. Emma, Jake, and Mia clung to each other, their small bodies visibly shaking from the cold. In that moment, Tom knew he couldn't let them go back out into that storm. "How about you all stay here for the night?" he suggested, feeling his heart race with both fear and determination. The words surprised even him, but as soon as he said them, relief washed over Sarah's face. "Really? Are you sure?" she asked, her voice trembling with hope. Tom nodded firmly. "Of course. I can't just let you stand out there. You need warmth and a place to rest." He motioned for them to come further inside while he hurried to prepare a spot for them. His mind raced with thoughts of what he might need, extra blankets and pillows that had gathered dust since Anna passed. As they settled on the couch, Tom quickly made some hot cocoa in hopes of warming their spirits as well as their bodies. The aroma filled the room, a comforting smell that felt foreign, yet oddly pleasant in his quiet home. Emma's eyes lit up at the sight of the steaming mugs. Sarah expressed her gratitude through a hoarse whisper as she hugged her children tightly. For the first time in what felt like ages, Tom watched as laughter bubbled among the triplets over their cocoa. It filled him with warmth, igniting a glimmer of joy he hadn't felt in years. Their presence brought an unexpected spark into his empty home, He realized this decision was more than just kindness. It was the beginning of healing for them all. As the days turned into weeks, Tom found himself navigating a world filled with delightful chaos. The triplets brought energy to his home that he hadn't experienced in years. Emma, Jake, and Mia filled the rooms with their laughter, while their playful antics turned mundane moments into adventures. Tom chuckled as he watched them chase each other through the living room, their small feet pounding against the floor as they giggled uncontrollably. However, this new life also came with challenges. Tom's mornings began much earlier than before, as he suddenly had to juggle breakfast preparations for 3 energetic children. Pancakes became a staple at the breakfast table, though getting everyone to eat was often a challenge. With syrup flying and sticky hands everywhere, Tom would remind himself to breathe deeply and enjoy the moment, despite the mess. Balancing work and home life tested him further. Each day at the hardware store felt like a race against time, as he would hurry home after closing just to ensure the triplets were taken care of. Homework was often accompanied by questions he didn't have the answers to, but he did his best to help them along. With every, "Why is the sky blue?" or "How do we catch a butterfly?" he felt both exhilarated and overwhelmed. In the quiet moments, he would tuck them into bed, their small faces fading into dreams. He would sit on the edge of their beds and think about his late wife, Anna. He found it hard at times, missing her yet feeling grateful for this unexpected gift of companionship. Tom realized that this life, filled with both chaos and joy, was redefining him. Though he often felt like he was stumbling through parenthood, he was learning every day about love, patience, and the beauty of shared moments in a home once filled with silence. As time passed, Tom found himself forging connections with Emma, Jake, and Mia that began to fill the emptiness in his heart. One sunny Saturday afternoon, he decided to take the triplets to the nearby park for a picnic. The moment they arrived, the children's eyes lit up with excitement as they spotted the swings and slides. Tom spread out a blanket under a tall oak tree, filled with sandwiches, fruit, and homemade cookies. While they munched on their lunch, laughter echoed as they shared stories and playful teasing. Tom watched in delight as Emma challenged Jake to a race to the swings. Mia cheered for both of them, her giggles infectious. In those moments, Tom felt a warmth wash over him, a feeling he thought he had lost forever. After lunch, they played games together, with Tom pushing them on the swings and joining their imaginative play in a make-believe world where they were all superheroes. He found himself laughing along with their joy, reveling in the innocence and wonder that surrounded him. Evenings became special too. Every night after dinner, they would gather around the kitchen table for family game night. They played card games and board games filled with laughter and friendly competition. It was in these delightful moments that Tom discovered how much he enjoyed being part of a family again. The triplets also loved helping him cook dinner, often taking turns stirring pots or measuring ingredients. Flour would fly everywhere as they tried to bake cookies together, leaving the kitchen in a charming mess that made them all laugh. Through shared meals and fun activities, Tom began to see the triplets not just as guests, but as a new part of his life. The growing bond filled the void Anna had left behind, reminding him that love and companionship could blossom even in unexpected circumstances. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah's determination surged. She understood that finding work was essential for her family's stability, so she began her search with renewed grit. Each morning, while Tom took care of the triplets, she would scour local job boards, sending out applications and attending interviews whenever she could. The process was daunting, but Sarah remained undeterred, fueled by the desire to provide for Emma, Jake, and Mia. Despite the challenges, she never lost sight of her responsibilities as a mother. With the triplets at home, she found creative ways to keep them occupied while she searched for opportunities. On days when she needed to focus on job hunting, she would set up crafts or educational activities, ensuring they stayed engaged. Their laughter and playful spirit often lifted her spirits when the weight of the world felt too heavy. As her bond with Tom grew stronger, she also felt supported by him in ways she had not expected. Their shared meals became a time of camaraderie, Cooking together was both practical and enjoyable. They exchanged stories about their lives, finding common ground in their shared experiences of loss and resilience. During one quiet evening after the children were asleep, Sarah confided in Tom about her fears and dreams for their future. "I just want to give them a better life," she said softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Tom listened intently, feeling a connection deepening between them. With each passing day, Sarah's strength inspired Tom too. He saw her unwavering commitment to her children and admired her perseverance amid uncertainty. Together, they slowly built a support system rooted in understanding and compassionate. It was a blend of hope that showed promise for a brighter future for them all. As Tom and Sarah settled into their new routines, the changes in their lives didn't go unnoticed by the neighbors. Word spread quickly through the small town about the triplets living with Tom, sparking mixed reactions among the community. Some of his friends, like Mary from next door, were thrilled. She often brought over cookies and leftovers, insisting that Tom needed a little extra help with feeding all those hungry mouths. "Anything I can do to help?" she chirped one sunny afternoon as she dropped off a plate of warm chocolate chip cookies. The children squealed with joy, thanking her and diving into the sweet treats. Tom appreciated her support and began to feel more at ease with his role as a caregiver. However, not everyone was so enthusiastic. A few neighbors raised their eyebrows at the sight of Tom surrounded by 3 energetic children. "Is it really wise for him to take on so much responsibility?" they whispered among themselves while passing by his house. Some were skeptical about whether a widower could truly care for 3 young kids effectively. Tom sensed this undercurrent of doubt, but tried not to let it weigh on him. He focused instead on nurturing his growing bond with the triplets and supporting Sarah as she pursued job opportunities. On weekend mornings, he would take them to community events, a local fair, or a farmer's market, where they could mingle and enjoy being part of something bigger. As more people interacted with Sarah and the triplets, some started to see the happiness radiating from their little family unit. Little by little, acceptance grew within the community, blurring the lines between skepticism and admiration. They began to recognize that love and care could transform even the most unexpected situations into something beautiful. As they settled into their new routine, challenges began to surface that tested Tom and Sarah's resolve. One chilly morning, Mia woke up with a high fever, her little cheeks flushed and her body shivering under the blankets. Tom felt a pang of worry as he hastily checked her temperature. "We need to see a doctor," he said to Sarah, his voice tinged with urgency. The trip to the clinic revealed that Mia had a mild case of the flu. While the doctor assured them she would recover quickly with rest and care, the reality of taking care of a sick child added stress to their lives, on top of Sarah's job search and the financial pressures they were already facing. The cost of medicine strained their limited budget even further. Meanwhile, Sarah juggled her responsibilities as a mother with finding work. Each application she filled out was accompanied by a nagging doubt. Would she be able to earn enough to make ends meet? With Mia needing extra attention, Jake and Emma felt the weight of concern as well, worrying about their sister while trying to keep spirits high. One evening as they sat down for dinner, Tom noticed the quietness around the table. It reminded him of his own struggles in moments of despair. "How about we come up with some fun ideas to help Mia feel better?" he suggested, hoping to distract everyone from the worries swirling in the air. Together, they brainstormed about creating a get well poster for Mia, filled with drawings and encouraging notes from each sibling. The giggles sprinkled throughout the activity brought laughter back into their home. It was in these moments of teamwork facing challenges head-on together that Tom and Sarah discovered their strength. They learned that resilience blooms not only in hardship, but also in how they supported one another and faced each obstacle as a united front. Amidst the challenges, moments of joy blossomed in Tom's home, often arising from simple, everyday occurrences. One morning at breakfast, as the 3 triplets sat eagerly at the table, excitement filled the air. Tom poured milk into 3 cups but miscalculated the angles, sending a river of milk cascading across the table. Laughter erupted as Emma squealed, "The milk is swimming!" and Jake joined in with exaggerated splashes of his spoon, attempting to rescue his breakfast. Tom couldn't help but chuckle along with them, wiping up the mess while they giggled uncontrollably. It was moments like these that reminded him of the happiness he thought he had lost forever. The kitchen felt alive with laughter and playful chaos, bringing warmth to a space that had once felt so lonely. Family outings became another source of joy. One sunny Saturday, they ventured to the local park for a picnic. The triplets ran ahead, their laughter echoing through the trees as they raced to the swings. Tom spread out a blanket and unpacked sandwiches while keeping an eye on them. The sound of their joyous screams mixed with the rustling leaves created a symphony of happiness. Later, as they all sat on the grass enjoying their meal, Mia pointed out clouds drifting by. "Look, that one looks like a bunny," she exclaimed, causing them all to look up and imagine shapes in the sky together. They spent time sharing stories and dreaming up adventures while snacking on homemade cookies. As Tom watched them laugh and play under the sun's warm rays, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. These moments filled with carefree joy were sewing together his new life into a tapestry of love and connection that he didn't know he could have again. Each shared smile and silly mishap forged their bond stronger, turning everyday life into cherished memories that would last forever. As the weeks flowed into months, Tom began to notice subtle yet profound changes within himself. The once constant weight of grief that had anchored his heart began to lift, replaced by a growing sense of hope and joy. The laughter of the triplets echoed in his mind long after they had gone to bed, and he found himself smiling more often, even during moments of solitude. One evening, as they gathered around the dinner table, Tom decided to lighten the mood. "All right, who can make the funniest face?" he challenged. The triplets erupted into fits of giggles as they contorted their expressions into silly shapes. Tom joined in, letting go of his reservations and embracing the light-heartedness that filled the room. It felt freeing, and for the first time in years, he realized he was genuinely happy. Even during challenging times, Tom began to respond differently. When Jake fell off his bike and skinned his knee, instead of recoiling in worry as he once would have, Tom knelt beside him and simply said, "Let's clean it up and get back on, don't let it stop you." The trust in Jake's eyes made Tom understand that he was becoming a source of strength for the children, which in turn made him feel more secure in his own skin. Tom started making time for activities that had once brought him joy: gardening, reading, and even playing guitar. As he shared these moments with Sarah and the triplets, they all found new ways to connect. They would join him outside to help plant flowers, or gather around the living room when he strummed cheerful tunes on his guitar. Through these joyful experiences, Tom learned that healing wasn't just about moving on. It was about embracing new beginnings. He discovered that love could grow in unexpected places and that laughter could be a powerful antidote to sorrow. Each day felt like a step forward into a brighter future where the memories of Anna remained cherished but were no longer burdensome. Just when the air of happiness seemed to fill Tom's home, an unexpected conflict emerged that threatened their newfound harmony. One evening, Sarah received a phone call about a job opportunity she had applied for weeks ago. It was a full-time position at a nearby school that offered both decent pay and benefits. However, it required her to start in just a week and meant she would have to commute daily, taking her away from home for long hours. When Sarah shared the news with Tom, his heart sank upon hearing that she might be leaving the house so often. "It's a great opportunity," she emphasized, her eyes shining with hope. But Tom felt an unsettling mix of emotions: fear of losing the closeness they had built, and worry about managing the triplets alone while Sarah was away. "I understand it's important for you," Tom said hesitantly. "But what about the kids? They need both of us right now." His voice carried undercurrents of concern, but also an unexpected hint of possessiveness. He had begun to feel protective over the family they were nurturing together. Sarah, sensing Tom's hesitation, felt offended. Was he questioning her ability to be a good mother or to seek work? "I'm trying to provide for my children. This job could help us," she replied defensively, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. The conversation turned tense, sparking misunderstandings that led to both feeling unappreciated. For the first time since they had come together, doubts crept in: could they truly be a family if they couldn't support each other's choices? As their tempers cooled later that night, Tom and Sarah found themselves reflecting separately on their feelings. Each was struck by the realization that supporting one another would require communication and trust, the very foundation they were trying to build together. They needed to confront these challenges head-on if they truly wanted their newfound family unit to thrive. After a few days of tension, Tom and Sarah decided to sit down together for an honest conversation about the job opportunity that had caused their conflict. They chose a quiet evening after the triplets were tucked into bed, the soft glow of a lamp creating a cozy atmosphere in the living room. It felt right, this space had become theirs, filled with laughter and shared experiences. "I know this job means more than just money for you," Tom began, looking earnestly at Sarah. "But I guess I'm just scared of the changes it could bring." He shifted in his seat, feeling vulnerability seep through as he opened up about his fears. Sarah nodded, understanding that deep down this wasn't just about her new job but also about their partnership. "I didn't mean to make you feel like I was abandoning us," she replied gently. "I thought it could help us all to be able to give the kids more stability." Together, they talked through potential schedules and how she might manage her time at work while still being present for the triplets. To his surprise, Tom discovered that he had more ideas than he initially thought. "What if we set specific times for family nights? We can plan together every week, making sure we fit in what's important." As they brainstormed solutions, hope started to replace the fear that had clung to their hearts. They explored options like finding childcare during her work hours or adjusting when he could help with household duties after long days at the hardware store. By tackling these issues as a team, Tom and Sarah reinforced their commitment to one another and the children. They realized that communication was a powerful tool, a bridge connecting them through uncertainty. Embracing this moment sparked renewed resolve within both of them. No matter where life took them next, they would face it together, ready to support each other fully as a family united. As the weeks turned into months, the household of Tom, Sarah, and the triplets transformed into a vibrant tapestry of love and connection. Each day felt like a new adventure, filled with laughter, shared meals, and cozy family nights that solidified their bond. The previous challenges they had faced seemed to fade into the background, replaced by a joyful rhythm that resonated throughout their home. One sunny Saturday afternoon, they hosted a small garden party in their backyard to celebrate Emma's birthday. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers as they decorated the table with bright balloons and homemade banners. Tom, wielding a spatula, flipped pancakes while Sarah set up a fun art station where the triplets could unleash their creativity. The warmth of the day mirrored the happiness in their hearts. As the guests arrived, friends from the neighborhood and a few classmates of the triplets, Tom marveled at how different his life had become. He found himself laughing freely, joining in on the games, and letting go of self-doubt. As he watched Sarah interact with their friends and support the children in their festivities, he felt a surge of gratitude for the family they had created together. Later in the afternoon, as they all gathered around to sing "Happy Birthday," Tom noticed how beautifully intertwined their lives had become. The triplets beamed with delight as they blew out the candles on Emma's cake, surrounded by the warmth of friendships and love. Tom felt a sense of fulfillment that he hadn't experienced in years. In that moment, it hit him. They were no longer just a group of individuals sharing a space, they were a family. Love had blossomed in unexpected circumstances, filling the voids left by past losses and creating new beginnings. Together, they had woven a life rich with hope and joy, proving that it was indeed possible to grow stronger together amid life's unpredictability. As Tom reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment, he marveled at the profound changes in his life. Just a few months ago, he had felt trapped in a cycle of grief and loneliness, burdened by the memories of Anna. He never imagined that opening his heart and home to Sarah and the triplets would lead to such a transformation. It was as if fate had intervened, guiding them all toward each other when they needed it most. Looking around at the colorful decorations from Emma's birthday party still fluttering in the gentle breeze, Tom felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The laughter of the triplets echoed in his ears like music, a constant reminder of the joy that had taken root in their home. Together, they had created something beautiful, a family born from unexpected circumstances. Through shared challenges and joyous moments, Tom learned that healing was not just about moving past grief, but embracing new beginnings. He discovered that love could flourish even amidst uncertainty, and that community support played a vital role in their journey. Neighbors who once questioned their unconventional arrangement had become friends and allies, offering encouragement and assistance when needed. Each day brought new opportunities for connection with Sarah and the triplets, reinforcing their commitment to one another. They navigated life's ups and downs hand in hand, fostering an environment where everyone felt valued and heard. In this newfound family dynamic, Tom recognized how essential it was to cherish every moment together, whether it was through laughter during breakfast or quiet evenings spent reading on the couch. Love blossomed fully in their hearts, reminding him that hope can rise from the ashes of sorrow. As he looked toward the future, Tom felt ready to embrace whatever came next, confident that together they could overcome anything.